Hello and welcome to Warhammer Wednesday. In this video I'm going to continue from the unboxing that I released a little while ago of a Mars pattern Warhound Titan with a Vulcan Mega Bolter and a plasma blast gun. This model I got last year sometime. Just took ages to get round to making him, putting out a video and then releasing it. I think I did the unboxing video last year and I built him this year, but I've had a lot of other things that I've built recently. As always, just going to give you a little size comparison. There's a normal Space Marine. He is, yeah, quite a lot larger. The Titan is almost finished. There's a few sort of like tweaks I'm not completely 100% happy with before I spray, but the legs and the feet I can go ahead and spray and spray silver and get all of that done and sorted. It's just the carapace really. This is the first Mars pattern Warhound Titan I've built and created. I built a Lucius pattern probably about 12 years ago or so, something like that. Not too dissimilar, except for with the Lucius there was sort of more resin at the front, a lot more resin really, but they discontinued that model and now we're just, I say, stuck. It's an absolutely lovely classic model this, with plenty of options. It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one to build. The feet and the toes probably the hardest bits, and all the magnetisation. Yep, of course you could wash this, obviously dry it and clean up all the parts and then super glue everything. That's fine. It's up to you whether you want to pin things. If you're taking these to Adepticons, if you play a lot of Apocalypse games, things like that, then yeah, it might be worth pinning it because you don't want it rattling around or whatnot. So you want it to stay together for as long as possible, especially if you're moving it about. But I didn't. This is all super glued, except for like a couple of bits which I used resin for. I think it was just the torso magnets. It's the only bit I used the epoxy resin sort of glue. Everything else is all super glued. Went together quite well. I'm happy with the pose. Got left foot forward. Lucius has got its right foot forward. That's sort of like the way I wanted to go with this one. Everything that's magnetized is the guns. Now this one is a little bit sort of wobbly. I'm not happy with that. Not happy with that at all. What I'm going to do is just play about with my magnets and try and find some stronger ones. But that's just the way that is at the moment. It might need some modification. I might even need to put 2 magnets in. We'll see, but not happy with that at the moment. But apart from that, that's all sort of done. So that's sort of like a work in progress. Plasma blast gun, happy with that. Happy with the magnetisation. Doesn't wobble around. That is a success. The torso I'm not that happy with at the moment because he sort of moves forward a bit. It doesn't completely stick down, so I might have to put another magnet on there. The top carapace just comes off. I'm not going to magnetise it, although I possibly could and put a few magnets in there, smooth them off. This you obviously do sort of like last after you sprayed that. The front head, I haven't put the cables in. You don't need to. It's up to you. It really depends on if you just want one of these. You don't want quite a few and you want it to be your showcase, your centerpiece, then I suppose if you want you could bend the cables to the plugs, you bend the cables to the sockets and then put a little magnet in there but glue the cables in, so every time you slot it on you just slot the cable via magnetisation. You can do it that way or you can just leave the cables out like I have, and like many people do. They're all good to go in there. They're all cleaned up, ready to be sprayed and painted. I've even got a little magnet there that it just keeps the carapace on the top a bit better. I mean, without it, it does rattle around a little bit. Pro tip: heat the whole thing with a hairdryer or one side at a time, and once it's squishy, gently sort of like push it in place, wait for it to cool, or even blow on it, and then it'll mould round there and give you a bit of a snug fit. But that's just held in. That magnet is fine for what the strength of the magnet. And I put it at a bit of an angle as well. Void shields on the top, if you can see them, they've got tiny little magnets in. They're absolutely fine. They just slot on, and then it gives me the option of taking one off during battle. If I just take the carapace off, there we go. All the armour plates aren't on yet. They're going to be sprayed and painted separately, including the shin armour too, and the thigh armour plates. They're not glued on, but if I take those off, this is ready to be sprayed and based and put the metal on and highlighted and all, and painting on every single individual bolt, putting the gold on, things like that. This is the inside. It's all cleaned up, went together quite well. Few issues where I put the green stuff, a few gaps and things, but overall quite happy for my first Mars pattern. And there you go. So this is sort of it. I mean, you can see the size of it compared to like a Space Marine, and this is sort of the smallest Titan really. I'm not really classifying the Imperial Knights as Titans. This is a Scout Titan, and often they go out in pairs, but in Horus Heresy I think they went out in a pack of 10 or 20, which is a bit mean, but there you go, it was the Horus Heresy. Yeah, it goes together quite well there, and it's only when it's got the weapons on that it's sort of that extra weight on the shoulders just brings it forward a bit. So I might pack some extra weight on the back somehow, but there you go. It's a lovely model. One of these will set you back £270, which is probably like $400, something like that. I can't remember. And then the weapons are £40 each, which is quite a lot. So in theory, you're going to be paying £350 for one of these. My Lucius pattern that I got 13 years ago, that was 250 with 2 weapons. So it's gone up by £100 in a decade. So 10 quid every year. I can only imagine how much one of these is going to cost you in 10 years. So say it's 350 now. If it goes up again, it'll probably be 450, 500 pounds, maybe. But we'll see. I reckon that they've already made a plastic one of these, and it's just a matter of time. It might not be the Mars, it might be the Lucius, but we'll see. We'll see. They'll definitely sell like hotcakes if and when they do release them. So there you go. It's one of those really lovely models to make. It didn't take me too long at all to build, and you just have to factor in that extra time for the magnets. If you don't want to magnetise it and you want to super glue it, it's only going to take you 3 or 4 days or so. But if you do want to magnetise it, you can probably have you can add a bit of extra time onto it, and really it's up to you how far you want to go through magnetising it. I think it's a really lovely model, but as I probably said a few times already, it's getting to the stage now where it's a lot of money. It really is. £350 for a model this sort of, I say small, is quite a huge amount when think of how many Imperial Knights you could get for that, really. And they do have D weapons, they've got the Reaper chainsaws and the gauntlets, and they even have their, ionic shields or whatever. Just doing the maths, if you bought sort of 3 Renegade box sets, you'd still have, money to spare, and that'd get you 6 Knights for the same as one of these. But they are a lovely model, and an absolute joy to construct, and they will challenge you, definitely. Especially if you want to do something with the feet, put it on a tank or an enemy model or something. They've got so much scope for customization too. That is the end of my review. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.